Hello, welcome. What's going on? It's TwitchUnity today. TwitchUnity, hashtag TwitchUnity. You can see right there, look, I have a little thing. It's a special thing. It's May the 26th of 2017, and it's ostensibly the first of several maybe yearly TwitchUnity events. There's a new emote for it. Yeah, I see it in the chat. A little purple heart. And I was a part of the TwitchUnity. You might have seen me in their promotional video, along with some other cuties that you know, such as Distracted Elf, Blue Jay, some other cuties that I know, probably some that you know that I don't yet. So that's a video. It was a little video that we all made. Aurelian from Ye Twitch reached out to a bunch of people and asked us about they asked us about participating in the TwitchUnity event, and both what Aurelian and Twitch brought to us, and still what they talk about when they're talking about TwitchUnity is the idea of creating. I'll read from their website. So they were saying creating a platform full of unique creators and building the tools to allow those creators to make their channels safe spaces have been guiding principles of Twitch since its inception. So much so that we've even written "Welcome everyone" into our company values. We are incredibly proud that our users have adopted this mentality, building acceptance as a key part of what it means to, all one word, bleed purple. We hope you'll join us May 26th as we celebrate TwitchUnity, a site-wide holiday celebrating inclusivity and diversity on our streams, chats, apps, and community at large in a variety of ways. And then it goes on in the blog to discuss, ways in which we can engage these ideas of unity and diversity. And I see we're getting some love, some sweet love attention from Jade Silk. Thanks, Jade. I appreciate your sick kung fu moves and your hot fire. Welcome, everybody. So TwitchUnity is it's a thing that Twitch is doing to show their interest in expressing the community values that they have internally around diversity and inclusivity, and making Twitch a place where anyone can come and be a part of these here Twitches, which I think to a degree is a true statement. I think that within technological ranges, provided that you are the kind of person who has the ability to afford a computer, or I guess if you're just doing IRL, like a phone and internet, and you have the time and energy to devote to learning how to stream, you can stream on Twitch. So I think that's cool. I think that there is a certain degree of inherent truth in the idea that anyone can become a Twitch streamer. But I think that because Twitch is a part of a larger societal structure, right? Twitch is the product of the places that it was created, right? It's a product of technological culture. It's a product of North American culture. It's the product of gamer culture. And I think that there's something to be said of remembering that, that nothing exists outside of its context. So TwitchUnity as a concept, as an idea, needs to be remembered in the context that it is being created and supported and engaged by a company, right? And that company has a history and has a space. So, you know, what I think for me is interesting to remember is that, you know, this is just the tip of a much larger iceberg of stuff that Twitch does. Some of it you're able to see, like TwitchUnity. Other things are not accessible to us. Other things like Twitch's hiring policies, Twitch's internal structure, the kinds of people that work there, the individuals and their desires and intentions. Because a company is not a person, but it can be made up of people. And I have been lucky enough to know and to understand the thought process behind some of this stuff, because I know the people behind some of these things. So, you know, the people that I have interacted with at Twitch, people like, you know, DJ Wheat, like our dear sweet friend Tristere, like Aurelian. These are all people that care about things that TwitchUnity is about. Twitch as a company doesn't care about anything, but that doesn't say that the people that work there don't. And that the people that work there inform the company, but the company informs the people as well. So, you know, it's something to keep in mind. And, you know, I'm fundamentally a little jaded when it comes to things like corporately incentivized Unity days. They smack of the wrong end of cyberpunk to me, you know. But I think that the intention behind TwitchUnity, whether the actual event itself is something that you find yourself believing in or not, I think that it's worth knowing the people behind it have good intentions, at least what I've seen. And it's, you know, it's your call to make. But I wanted to talk a little bit about TwitchUnity generally as a thing, and I wanted to talk about why it's important. And I think you're going to see as this stream continues, you will see people in Twitter, you will see people in Twitch chat, you will see evidence of why these things are important. Because if you're someone who has either had experience as a marginalized person, a person belonging to a traditionally marginalized group, which is to say a disabled person, a person of color, someone who is LGBT, you know, if you're a trans person, if you're non-binary, if you're a woman, if you've had the experience of streaming as one of those people and being like out and visible as that, you know that both your everyday involves being in a spotlight that can bring you negative attention. And days like this, right? Events like TwitchUnity serve both to highlight that those people exist, right? It's nice to see these videos, to see people of various ages, ethnicities, cultures, people who are LGBT identified, that kind of thing. It's nice to see us, that we exist. It's nice to give us some space to say, hey, you know, we exist all day, every day in these spaces, but it's nice to have a day to say, hey, this is important. Let's address this. But it can bring a lot of negative attention, kind of clustering targets together for the kind of person that will wander into a chat and be a piece of shit, right? Now, I'm going to take a second. People who are used to being in this space with me, folks who are in the math squad, lurkers, subs, regulars, whatever, people who know what this space is about. Just, I'm not talking to you for a second. Shitlords, this one's for you. If you see an event, that is celebrating people for their differences, and you feel the need to come into their space and shout about how your antiquated ideas of gender are, you want to start talking about the horrible mistakes someone made in teaching you about, I don't know, equality or ethnicity, for example. I would really like it if you took a minute to just consider why you feel the need to do that, right? Do you think that you're going to win an ideological war? Do you think you're going to come in and you're going to convince a room full of people that, wait, you know what? Maybe my antiquated ideas of gender are wrong. Maybe this shitlord, maybe this person knows what's going on. You know what? I've changed my mind. I'm going to listen to your ideas. I'm going to follow you on Twitter. And I'm so excited to hear what you have to say. Do you think people are going to look at the things that you say and they're going to rethink the way that they live their life because some random shitlord decided to wander in and be an asshole? I really don't think most people think that far, but I would love it if you could. I would love it if you could just take a second and think about what exactly it is that you're doing with your life that you feel the need to wander into a room and just start being obnoxious, right? Now, in my channel and in the spaces that I'm a part of, we try to talk to people who act this way. We try to engage them in a dialogue, but events like TwitchUnity can create a big space for those people to wander in and to act out, to act like toddlers, really. And I assume that you're not 6. So we try to engage them. We try to have these conversations, help them question why maybe they feel this need. And sometimes it works, right? Sometimes there are people who just don't know any better, right? And I think this is okay. I think the thing is that sometimes people just haven't been raised in an environment where they have any kind of understanding about people who are different from them. And I don't think that it's reasonable to blame them for that. Ignorance is a thing that can be corrected. But sometimes those people don't want to engage a conversation. They don't want to have a dialectic. They don't want to discuss. They come in and they just want to act like jerks. And so here's the thing about inclusion. Those kinds of people are not invited to be a part of this conversation. They can either see themselves out, or we can see them out, right? And this is why I think that when we use words like inclusive to describe communities, we risk the idea that we are including everyone, that anyone is equally invited to join in our communities. They are welcome to come into this space and say whatever they want. I don't think that that's the way that we make anything better. I don't think that we are going to make Twitch a better place by just saying anyone with anything to say at all can come in here and say whatever they want. I think the thing is that we imagine everyone has the potential to be a good person. And when I say a good person, what I mean is a person who is willing to accept that the world is kind of a fucked up place, that there are structures of power that make it easier or harder for people to get along, to be safe, and to be comfortable and successful. And I think if people can accept that and they can question the idea that they benefit from structures that negatively impact other people, then they're welcome. They're welcome to come here and to have that conversation. They don't have to agree, right? I don't think that agreement across the board, and this is again why I feel like inclusion and unity are two very tricky tests, because I don't want to include lots of kinds of people in my community. I don't want to be unified with lots of different kinds of people. I want to create a space that's about affinity and solidarity. I would rather have Twitch solidarity. I would rather have Twitch affinity, right? The kinds of people that are included in the space that I want to build are people who care about other people, who have empathy, who are willing to listen when people talk. And that's all that really matters to me in this space, is a willingness to listen. And if that's not the case, if after coming into a space like this and having these conversations, if you're not willing to listen to what other people have to say, you're not welcome here. You know, I don't stream to create a place where fascists can come and hang out. I don't stream to create a space where sexists or racists or people who don't believe that everybody has the opportunity to be themselves should be allowed. I don't believe in that stuff, right? So there are people who are not included here. There are people who I don't want to have unity with. I want to create a space where solidarity is the most important thing, where we recognize each other's struggles, whatever origins those struggles come from, and we work to support each other, right? That shit is what matters to me. So a thing like TwitchUnity it's a mixed bag for me, right? Because I think on the one hand, I think visibility is hugely important. I think making a video the way Twitch did with the kinds of streamers that they chose to put in it was super, super important, right? I think that's really important. But I don't think I want to have unity with bad people. I don't want to have unity with poisonous, toxic people. I want to have unity with people I have solidarity with. I want to build an affinity group of people who care about each other's feelings and thoughts. An affinity group of people who want to listen to each other and make our corner of Twitch better. So, I don't know. I think the thing is, like, diversity is hugely important. I talk about this all the time. Diversity is hugely important because if we don't support diversity in the world, if we continue to silence marginalized voices, if we continue to boost the voices that already have power, we create a cascade of lowest common denominator, like bullshit attitudes, right? Power wants to continue to exist. We have to constantly struggle against it. And the only way we can do that is by building affinity with other people who feel that same struggle with us, which I guess is a form of unity. I don't believe in across the board unity. Unity feels so like 1984 to me. Like, everyone, the klaxon is sounding, celebrate your unity, right? It feels a little totalitarian. I think what matters is small scale change across all kinds of spaces, right? And so we were talking a little bit today, Elf and Blue Jay and Andrew and Dave and I, after the last World 20, the game that we ran today. We were talking about Unity, Twitch Unity, and that as a thing, and we were talking about our experiences with it. And, you know, we talked a little bit about how an event like this, same as like the LGBT panel at TwitchCon, or really anything where we're highlighted for the things that already make us targets, those things they do make us vulnerable. So we have to be brave about being out there in that space. It puts us all in one place, and then there's targets for those things. But what I think it has done, and this is where solidarity comes in, this is where affinity comes in, small scale community overlap or interaction is the best thing to me that Twitch has ever been capable of doing, right? I am lucky enough, by way of both the yes, talent and hard work that I've put into Twitch, but also the merit of the fact that I am a white male, right? That gives me certain advantages. No one's going to come to my channel and be like, I'm not going to watch this because it's a white man playing a video game, right? I don't have to struggle with that because of a combination of that inherent structural stuff I've got going for me. I'm playing on easy mode, and the fact that I've put in hard work and I have some talent at this. I've been able to build an audience, and the best thing that I've ever felt I was able to do with that audience is to talk with them like I'm doing with you, and then make room for other people who are not me to talk, right? To open up the stage to other people who I think have valuable things to say, right? And so the TwitchUnity video introduced me to other people that have some degree of solidarity or affinity with the causes and beliefs that I have myself, right? So when we see that overlap, when we see that crossover, it feels a lot safer than, for example, here's the thing. So I've been doing streams with itmejp on his channel for roleplay for years. It's been a while, for a couple of years now, since before I was even a partnered streamer on my own. And still years on, every time that I stream on JP's channel, I'm exposed to hateful comments, right? Now JP's mod team does a good job, right? Twitch has some tools for managing this kind of stuff, but every single stream, without fail, someone will make a comment about the fact that I am a queer person. They'll make a negative comment about that. There are comments about, what am I doing? What am I doing in this channel? Why am I out as queer? Why is that in my Twitter thing? Why would I need to talk about that? Why are an equal number of my NPCs in games? Why are there so many women in this game? NPCs. Why did you make that tough, interesting character a woman? Why did you do that? So the thing is that when I'm in those spaces, I have to remember that there is a larger community at play here. And I can't affect that deeply, right? And what's interesting to me is that when I started streaming, a lot of you came with me to this space from that one, right? A lot of people who watched roleplay saw something in me and my opinions and attitudes and came to my channel and are now subscribers and parts of this community. And so when Twitch makes an effort to connect marginalized people together and celebrate that Twitch is a diverse platform, right? That just because the prevalence of white faces and male faces and straight faces in that space is there, just because that's a prevalence, doesn't mean that that's all that there is. Sometimes those people are invisible because they don't have the advantages that other people do. And so it's nice when they put us together. And when it comes down to it, ultimately, what TwitchUnity has done for me is introduce me to other affinity groups, right? There are people in this audience, right? Which is to say, like Math Squad, my community. There are people in this community who now also find affinity and solidarity in the communities of other people that I care about and respect, right? There is a Venn diagram of Distracted Elf and Adam Coble subscribers that overlaps in a really nice way, right? People who are subscribers to both and Munition and me. People who are subscribers to UGR and me, to Dylan and me, to those streamers and each other. And what's really great is when we get exposed to each other in that way. Because when someone comes to me, when someone comes into my channel and says, hey, I saw you on Roleplay, and I've never seen them before, I have a moment of trepidation, right? I have a moment of like, okay, well, I appreciate that. We have something in common. I like role-playing games. You like role-playing games. You like them enough to have, followed me and come on over to my channel and, hey, welcome. But sometimes, it's, hey, I saw you on Roleplay. Why are you playing Persona? Why do you look like, why do you keep talking about gay stuff? There's only 2 genders, and then they leave, right? There's this fallacy among nerds that if we like the same things, we inherently should then like each other as people, which is unfortunately not always true. And while it's possible that people who frequent Distracted Elf's channel and people who frequent my channel may not see eye to eye on everything, Elf and I have a degree of affinity and solidarity overlap, right? So when someone comes into my channel and they say, hey, I saw you playing HOTS with Elf, you said something cool, I thought I would check out your channel, that feels much safer to me. And I know that the term safe space and safety have become, in a lot of ways, like, say, social justice as a concept, have become memeified by the kinds of people that want to drag down and push away the idea that these spaces need to exist. These kinds of memifications and disregarding of those terms is harmful, because I think that safety is so hard to find, both in life and on the internet particularly. I am a firm believer in making places safe for people. I care about people. I have the ability to some degree or another manage a social space. And if that space is not safe for the people that I care about, then I need to work harder at fixing that. I believe in the world being dangerous and the communities that we create, the affinity groups that we create, the spaces of solidarity that we create. I believe in them being safe for us. Now, safety isn't about not discussing or debating. I mean, my inner Marxist would never allow me to ignore something so integral as the dialectic, right? My inner Socratic would never let me get away with not creating a space where questioning was allowed, because questions are what create that safety, knowing what feels safe and what doesn't. I want to challenge you as you maneuver through the internet. I want to challenge you to keep an eye out for the kinds of voices that cry out against safe space. Keep an eye out for the kinds of voices that use triggered as a slur or a way of hurtfully dismissing someone. keep an eye out for people who dismiss someone for caring about social justice. And I wonder what percentage of those people have not ever experienced marginalization in their lives. I don't want to tell you that everyone who disagrees with the kinds of things that social justice might stand for, or that triggering as a concept might upset. I don't want to say that they're all not, they're not all free of any kind of marginalization, but just notice, be aware, right? I've had a lot of people asking, me today, particularly, you know, why do we need TwitchUnity? Why does this need to be a thing? Can't you just be gay in secret? Can't you just ignore that you're black? Ignore that you're Chinese or Korean or South American or indigenous? Ignore all of those things. Why do we need a day for you? Why do we need to talk about diversity? Can't diversity simply just be present all the time? Right? Why do we need to know about your personal life, you gays? Right? And like, okay, in a perfect world, in a world in which no one inherently had any kind of structural advantage over anyone else, right? In a world where heteronormativity never existed, in a world where slavery never existed and didn't create a prison industrial complex that universally marginalizes black people in America. That never existed. If in this magical utopia we all stood on an even playing field, no, we wouldn't need the kind of unity that that Twitch is trying to create here. We would need to celebrate diversity. But the point is, until we can get to that place, moments in which we, as LGBT people, people of color, disabled folks, anyone who belongs to any kind of marginalized group, it's an opportunity for us to say, hey, we have some fucking degree of structural support today, right? We got to be in a spotlight. And even though that spotlight put a target on us, we deal with this shit every fucking day, right? I think the hard thing here is that we forget sometimes that a lot of these struggles are invisible. For example, so for me, today, I posted a tweet. This morning, and my tweet said, let me find it. The tweet said, "Are you a streamer or fan in a position of privilege or influence? Celebrate TwitchUnity by boosting the voices of marginalized folks." That's all I said. It doesn't, to me, sound particularly, I don't know, fiery. I can get a lot fierier, right? I can be a lot more obnoxious. You know, it's not like I tweeted, "There's no white people in Court of Swords." Spoiler warning. So, you know, casual tweet, right? I got some retweets. Some people with bigger audiences than me retweeted me. And it spread, right? It spread out on the internet. And all day, every few minutes, somebody said something homophobic or racist or just like shitty to me, right? Like just like, I got a lot of tweets that were like, I mean, I'm not going to spread shitty language. I don't want to do that, but you can imagine, right? We've seen these things. And instead of stopping and like screenshotting everyone, because I was tempted, right? I was tempted to share it and be like, this is why we need to normalize the idea that a queer person or a person of color or anyone who is not in this like normative space This is why we need a day like TwitchUnity. This is why we need diversity, because we need to normalize the fact that we're fucking here. There are black streamers. There are queer streamers. There are trans streamers. There are non-binary streamers. Like, it's so important that we just have a minute to be like, hey, hi, hello, we exist. We deserve some acknowledgement. I think there's a thing here that happens sometimes when we ask for that acknowledgement, when we say, can we just have like some room to breathe, right? We're constantly surrounded by things that are violent to us. There are phobic behaviors that negatively impact our ability to live and survive as people in the world. And we are around that all the time. So asking for a little bit of room to breathe and to be celebrated, not because of our marginalization, but in spite of it, to be given some room in a space that is very traditionally someone else's playground, I don't think is so much to ask. So I think what I want to ask about, and maybe just talk a little bit about it, and then maybe if you want to ask questions, I want to talk about, well, first, a common response, right? Now, I saw a lot of these responses, and sadly, none of them were in particularly good faith. I think a lot of them were just people being jerks. I'm going to ask you to check yourself if you are the person I'm about to describe. 11 months out of the year, you don't think about this. 11 months out of the year, you think about your job, your family, your kids. You think about riding your car to work. You think about your dog. You think about playing paintball and who's going to win League of Legends on stream tonight. You think about the TV shows that you watch. 1 month out of the year, people are tweeting about Black History Month. People are tweeting about that there's a history of marginalization of a particular kind of people in America. And they ask you to remember the people that were a part of their struggle, remember the places these people came from, to remember that marginalization exists. 11 months out of the year, you don't need to think about it. So you go on Twitter one day, you're like, hey, Black History Month. Will they get a whole month? Well, what about me? What about White History Month? Right? What about my acknowledgement? Does TwitchUnity include white men? Where's the straight people? Where's my unity? Right? Here's the thing. If you're that kind of person, if that's the thoughts that you're having, take a fucking second. Just take a fucking second. Just one. Just think. Is it really necessary for you to do that? Do you really need to bust into the room? The room's a metaphor in this case. You really need to bust into the room and be like, where's my shit? Where's my attention? I think the thing is that the common flip response to this is the straight pride parade, the White History Month. It's the rest of the year, and it's that month too, right? It's your time is all times. Now, it can be, I'm gonna go ahead and just like talk to a subset of those people though. Now, here's the thing. There is an intersection of things that can make life hard and miserable. Just because you are a man, just because you are a white man, just because you are a straight white man, doesn't mean that your life is going to be perfect. There are lots of ways in which you can be disadvantaged. Maybe you live in a bad part of the country you live in, right? Maybe your situation is affected by your politics, right? Maybe you live in a place where you can't express your political beliefs safely. Maybe you're poor. Maybe you were poor as fuck and you can't afford the things you need to survive. Maybe you're struggling with mental health issues. We're not all one thing, right? I'm not just a queer person. I'm also like a white man. I'm Canadian. I'm all kinds of stuff, right? Just like you are. So when we talk about things like diversity, diversification, celebrating people for the ways in which maybe they have not been allowed to be celebrated before, by saying thank you for being brave enough to be a black streamer in a predominantly white environment. Thank you for being a fucking trans person in an incredibly hostile universe, let alone the internet, where it can be exceptionally dangerous. That to me is what these kinds of events should be for, right? Like, thank you for being brave. Thank you for making this space better. I think the thing is like the reason why diversity matters in a space like Twitch is because Twitch is a platform for expression. It is a place where we are allowed to sit down in front of an audience of some size, and maybe your audience is 10 people or maybe it's 10,000, and express who you are to that audience. You have interesting things to share, right? You have an experience as a person. Your culture, your history, your family, your gender, your identity, everything that makes you up is what makes you worth watching, right? And so it's got to be a place where you can feel comfortable and safe being that, not just for you, right? And this is where if you are a person watching Twitch and you consider yourself to only give a fuck about your own opinions and beliefs, your own feelings, do you just want the internet to cater to you? Well, fuck you, first of all. But before we get to that, even if that's where your head is at, diversity, creating a diverse space, creating a space in which it's safe for people to be themselves is going to make the way that they entertain you better. If I had to spend all of my time on stream watching chat, being afraid that someone was going to say something hurtful to me or to my friends in chat, I wouldn't be able to be fun to watch. I wouldn't be able to be interesting or amusing. I wouldn't be able to tell cool stories. I wouldn't be able to analyze all the obviously sub-level gay stuff in Persona. I wouldn't be able to create the worlds of the role-playing games that I do because I would be too busy worrying about being seen in a negative way. So even if you are a selfish piece of garbage, try to remember that creating an environment which is safe for the people who are in that environment, it's going to make it better for you. So try to be decent. Try to think about, in a platform whose entire purpose is built on hearing other people share their stories, fucking listen. Learn to listen. Shut your fucking mouth and just listen for a second. Because other people have an experience that is not the same as yours. It would be boring watching a television show that just talked about your life. It would be boring listening to a streamer who is exactly the fucking same as you talk about things you already know about, which is what I think makes it so weird to me when we have this kind of aggressive pursuer of free speech, trying to talk about like, well, I should be allowed to say whatever offensive shit that I want. Why are you trying to create an echo chamber? When all they really want to do is silence anyone who doesn't agree with them so they can listen to the sound of their own right-wing garbage bounce around in that space. Here's the thing. No one is entitled to anyone else's attention. There is nothing wrong with saying to someone, I don't want to hear the things you have to say. It's not safe for me. I'm not interested. I don't want this. That's okay. You can say that. Just like I say about this space, fascists are not welcome. Sexists are not welcome. Racists are not welcome. Y'all can get the fuck out or you can change. I don't believe in an inclusivity that includes people who just want to hurt other people for who they are. This is not a place for you. You can leave. And that's it. That's how that works for me. So, you know, I've talked a lot about like myself and what I do to try to like create these spaces. You know, I think that it can be hard if you don't think about it all the fucking time like I do. To know, how can I help? What can I do as a human being to make the world and the smaller format of that, the spaces that I frequent, forums, gaming clubs, Twitch channels, what can I do to make space like this better? And I think that the two things that you can do, the two biggest possible things that you can do, are recognize the ways in which you are immune or at least protected from structural stuff that makes other people's lives harder. Acknowledge the things you don't have to worry about. This has been for me kind of the biggest lesson of trying to just be like a good person on Twitch, trying to like be an example to others, is that I have so much of that, right? No one questions my thoughts or opinions because of the color of my skin, the sound of my voice, right? I don't have an accent that reads threatening or foreign or would discredit me in any way to anyone. I am relatable to a very large vocal audience in this space. Now, I don't want to say the majority because I think this is the thing. I'm just visible in the way that they are visible. So recognizing that, I try to dedicate the extra time and energy that I have to doing that, right? To making that energy available to other people. So it's my job as a fairly privileged person to use that privilege for other people. And so I do that by a combination of showing up for those people, right? In any possible way that I can. Boosting their voices in spaces where I have something to say. And the internet makes this real easy because Twitter, I can retweet people. I can auto host people. I can make my space belong to those people. And I can say, hey, people who like me, you might like these other people that I like. Right? I can listen when those people talk, and I can make it easier for other people to hear them. Right? So it's hard. You know, it's hard because I think recognition of privilege is a difficult thing. Power, the status quo, power wants to self-replicate. Power wants to live. Power does not want to dissolve. Power wants to stay alive and where it is. Privilege wants to replicate. Privilege wants to maintain. People who have privilege have to acknowledge that sometimes letting someone else speak means shutting up and losing that spotlight for a minute. So that's a way that I try to help. And I think it's a way that you can too, right? Lend your support to marginalized people. Give them room. Give them space. I think you can also address stuff when it comes up. And I'm trying really hard with this. And I know that a lot of people struggle because it's hard when someone that you trust or admire or like says something phobic or racist or shitty. It can be hard to be like, hey, can we hold on a second? Can you not say that? Because I'm not okay with that. Calling people on the things that they say and holding them accountable for that stuff. I think that's really important. I certainly expect it of the people around me, and I include you, my audience, in that. There's room for me to hear that kind of feedback. And I think something else that you can do is acknowledge people for who they are in your day-to-day life, right? If you've never had to struggle with being marginalized for the color of your skin or for your the kinds of people that you want to be in relationships with, the ways you love people, your culture, if you've never been marginalized for any of that stuff, you may not have an easy time understanding what that's like, but listen when the people that you know tell you things like what they want to be addressed as. If somebody says to you, hey, I would really like it if you used a particular set of pronouns for me when you refer to me when I'm not around, right? My pronouns are, listen, respect them, and do that. Do not say to them, well, that's silly. I don't believe in your gender. Like, acknowledge them, right? Don't say things like, well, gender is just a label. It doesn't really matter anyway. You could call me whatever gender you want, because you're erasing their identity. Don't use phrases like, I don't see color. Acknowledge people for the places that they came from, right? Acknowledge that, yes, like, I'm white. I do not know what it's like not to be white. I know people who are people of color, and their skin color and the experiences that skin color has represented for them matters. It's part of who they are. I'm not going to tell them I don't see your blackness, for example, because I do. We all do. It's part of who people are. And that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that. Just don't make it about them in that way, right? Don't make them like your black friend, you know? Let them be who they are. And again, this is what ties all this stuff back to the idea of unity, TwitchUnity as a thing, and of welcoming everyone, is that Twitch is already hyper welcoming of straight white men. Every day is your unity day, right? You are a huge, huge part, straight white men, of what makes up Twitch already. What TwitchUnity is trying to do is show that there are other people out there and give them some space to be visible. So I don't know, like, follow a trans streamer that you don't follow already. Follow a non-binary streamer. Follow a woman. Like, Jesus Christ. They're all over the place. Check out the stream of a person of color. And if you see somebody in that chat being shitty to them, say something, right? Be like, hey, that's not okay. I don't want to be part of a community that's like that, and you are being awful. You know? Be a part of that space. And a great place that you can start is by looking at the list of people that participated in the TwitchUnity video, right? Check out Dylan's channel, check out UGR's channel, check out Elf's channel, spread out from there, right? Because we all know good people, right? Like, I met Dylan through an event. I met Elf through my audience. I met so many good people just by following other people around. So take a minute, right? Look for people who are not straight white men and give them a follow. Hang out in their channel. Show some support. I think that for me, that's all there is to it, right? I think the trick is that everybody has a different idea of what diversity is. And fuck, that's what diversity is about, right? Having a diversity of opinions. But it doesn't mean accepting all opinions as equal. It doesn't mean listening to fascists. It doesn't mean listening to assholes or racists. It just means giving everybody a chance to be a decent person. So get out there and do that shit. So I wanted to make some room for questions, right? I'm going to try to be as like gentle with these questions as possible. Because I know that a lot of people are coming from a place of like legit actual ignorance, and not ignorance in a like you're stupid sense, but ignorance in a like you just don't, all questions come from a place of ignorance. You're trying to repair that ignorance. So I'm going to try to be gentle about it, but don't fucking troll me. I'm smart enough to know the difference. So let me take a look. I think I've given some time to, yeah, here we go. All right. So Phobiarch, this is a long question. I'm going to read it and we'll talk about it. Can you please explain to me why there is the thought that just because someone is white or male or straight, I have a privilege? I feel it shouldn't be held against me, just as being black or gay or a woman shouldn't be held against them. I get that someone else may give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's not as if I asked for or expected it. So privilege is not about asking for a thing. Privilege is not like, please, sir, may I be white? You don't get a choice. Nobody does. The thing about privilege is that it is omnipresent in the majority of Western culture, that there is a class divide wherein typically the people at the upper end of the class spectrum, the people with the money and the power, are white men. There are a lot of historical reasons why this is the case, but it stands to reason that even now in this enlightened age, these structures exist. Now, you may be born outside of that structure completely, but as a white, straight man, no one will ever question your opinions or thoughts because you are white, because you are straight, or because you're a man, right? No one is ever going to be, he's just a straight guy, don't listen to him. Structurally, individuals might. I might. I'll try not to. I know you didn't ask for it, and there are lots of ways in which you may also be experiencing hardship in your life, and it can feel like you don't have privilege, but you do, whether you're aware of it or not, because it is structural. I know that it can be hard if someone is saying like, check your privilege. But that's how it goes. It's there. It's present. It doesn't mean your life's going to be easy. It doesn't mean your life's going to be good or fun. You might suffer your entire life, even if you're a straight white man. However, we're not talking about personal experience. If individual people are dismissing you because of your white, straight maleness, consider the topic upon which you are being dismissed. If they're dismissing you outright without engaging with you at all, it's either that they are ignoring you because they don't want to have a conversation with you. Maybe they're being jerks. It is possible, right? However, if you are butting in on a conversation about being a woman, if you're trying to have an opinion about being gay, if you're trying to have an opinion about not being white, you're probably wrong if a person who is living an experience that is different from yours tells you you are wrong. statistically, you're more likely not to understand a situation that you have so much privilege you're blinded to. And again, I'm not talking to you specifically. I'm just saying, like, if two black people are talking about what it's like to be black and you're like, hey, that's not what it's like, you should be ignored. You should be told to back the fuck up. If a trans person is explaining to you what it's like not to be cisgendered, and you say, well, that doesn't make any sense, you must be wrong, just take a step back. Just zip your lips and listen, right? Again, the thing is, it's not like discrimination cannot be applied to people who are straight or white or male. You can be discriminated against for those things by individuals. I do it. I, personally, me, Adam Coble, I tend not to trust straight white men because I've had a lot of bad experiences in my life in which they have been shitty. I try not to let that discriminatory attitude come out when I engage with them. Listen, I have lots of straight white male friends. I do. We get along great. But I acknowledge that I have a degree of discrimination against those kinds of people that I actively try to work against. So this is a thing. You can be discriminated for all kinds of shit. But structurally, structural privilege is real in a different way. It's not the same. So while you may benefit from structural privilege, you can still experience discrimination for all kinds of things. Take a look at what qualified over the time that we look at what is or isn't white. There was a time in which Irish people weren't considered white. There was a time where Italians were not white, right? There's a fundamental change to the structures of things. And I think the point here is that privilege exists and you may exist in a privileged place, but people may discriminate for reasons you don't understand. All right? Acknowledge that privilege is real, but it doesn't have to mean your life is perfect. You may still suffer. That's how it goes. Embrace nihilism. It helps. Let's see. Let's see if there are other questions. If you want to ask a question, at me, because otherwise I won't see it. I strongly disagree is not a question. I don't know what the paradox of tolerance is. It sounds like some fucking bullshit to me, but let me see. Oh, I see. When a tolerant force by virtue of its tolerance allows intolerant forces to limit. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, the idea of a paradox of tolerance, I guess, is that if you tolerate everything, you must also tolerate shit. And that shittiness will undermine your tolerance. Fuck that. Fuck doing that. I don't tolerate lots of stuff. End of story. Don't tolerate bullshit. I do not believe in a world that includes everyone. I believe in a world that includes only people I want in my community and excludes other people. I think that we can be a part of communities that are built on structures that we believe in and care about. Tolerance, yes, tolerance does not have to be absolute. Intolerance does not always mean, and this brings us back to the structural privilege stuff, intolerance does not always mean intolerant of everyone. It means structural intolerance of LGBT people, people of color, etc. Right? The struggle for gay equality and gay rights definitely deals with the idea of being tolerant of gay people. And also, fuck tolerance. I don't need the world at large to be tolerant of me. I want to be embraced. I want to be cared about. Being tolerant is not enough. Yeah, exactly. You can be gay if you want, but be gay over there. I don't want to see it. Let me see. let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Here's some good ones. Czar Commander says, I'm a social recluse by nature, and I was wondering what I can do to help the LGBTQ community. I'm a kind person by nature and open to others' ideas and persons. Also, thanks for doing this. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Czar. What can you do as an introvert, as a social recluse? I mean, you're doing it, right? You're participating in a dialectic. You are opening your mind to the idea that there are people in the world who are not like you. And you are, I hope, making an effort to include them in your life, to hear their voices and to listen to them and take them seriously. You know, it's not all about big fundraiser events. It's not all about, you know, making a giant splash. Often the struggles that are the hardest to get through are the quiet ones, right? We all feel, to some degree or another, more accepted at the gay pride parade, right? We all feel, to some degree or another, more accepted on TwitchUnity Day, but we don't all feel accepted by our friends and families. We don't all feel cared about because of the things that we are. So what you can do is support people that are closest to you. I don't believe that we can change the world all at once. I think we can change the people around us. We can make their lives better, which is kind of what I'm trying to do here and now. And I think you can do that too. I think we all can, you know, be there for people. Whether this is online or in person, be there to talk to people. Be there to listen when someone needs a shoulder upon which to cry. Like, life is fucking hard, and having allies and showing solidarity is huge. And I think that's what you can do. It doesn't have to be in a big way. Just find small ways to listen and to be there for people that you know. Or strangers. If you don't have a lot of like LGBT people around you, offer your solidarity to people you don't know. Again, you're doing it now by being here. You're making yourself a better person. Yeah. Let's see. A lot of people confused about privilege being a thing. It's a thing, I promise. I promise. You may not be experiencing it, but it fucking is. It really is. Here we go. Okay. So, either TTN more or T10 more language. I work in a very conservative workplace. I'm a male working a traditionally female role. Gendered work roles. Fuck. I'm a secretary and video editor for a prominent religious organization. I get looked down upon by my peers for my views and eccentric appearance. As a pro-LGBT, pro-tolerance, pro-inclusion individual, I feel like I can't exist in my workspace or surrounding communities. How do you stay strong? Fuck. I mean, y'all, you people. I mean, I dump my energy into the people and places that I care about. My strength comes from the rotational power exchange that I have with you, with my audience, and with my peers, right? I stay strong by not being alone. I stay strong by surrounding myself with people who care about and have affinity for the things that I care about, right? My strength comes from not just a deep, impenetrable wellspring within, but from people like Anne and UGR and Distracted Elf and all of the other people who I have interacted with, who have had conversations with me or been on streams with me or just been there for me directly or indirectly. My affinity groups, they are what gives me strength. As a As an anarchist, I don't believe in externally structured social groups. I don't like being told you have your Canadianness in common with other Canadians. I don't like hierarchically oriented, forced social structures. I find them grating and frustrating. I like to choose the groups in which I belong. And this spreads through all of my relationships. So for me, founding or participating in an affinity group on whatever level reinforces a consensual sense of we all want to be here. We all care about each other, or at least we care about the same things. Now, I don't have to be friends with or like or even agree with every other LGBT person on earth. God, that would be impossible. I just need to have in common with them something that we care about. And honestly, like, we're all, in this case, you know, we care about Twitch. We care about the conversation. We care about being in this space together. And that empowers me to no end. So for me, my strength comes from that. I'm a pretty introverted person, but I believe that other people can, when they are doing so in a space of consent and attention and care, offer each other solidarity and support. And I don't just mean like I had a bad day because I spent all day looking at like harsh bullshit on Twitter. I need you to talk to me and like take care of me. I feel like it's an everyday thing. It's constant. It's just, hey, I hosted you. I saw you were streaming. Or I did a raid on your channel. Or, hey, do you want to play D&D with me for like a year? You know, I invite people to join in the spaces that I care about. And that, I think, gives us all some strength. I hope, anyway. I hope that I can give that strength to other people too. Yeah. That's my jam. Let's see. What other things are people curious about? Yeah, Corin makes a good point. Privilege is a thing, but when one is suffering, it's very hard to perceive, and it feels like it stings, right? Like if you are poor and you are white and you're a man and you're straight, it can be very hard to have someone say, "Hey, you're talking from a privileged position," because privilege feels like chocolate pudding in a fucking golden spoon being fed to you by beautiful people of the gender of your choice. But it's not. Sometimes privilege is just a thing that exists at some base level. It's hard. It's really hard, right? So Cesius, who's like one of my favorite fan artists ever of all time, Cesius asks, how do you deal with satire and humor? I don't understand sarcasm, and sometimes when people are being sarcastic or joking, I can't understand what's going on. How do I ask people what they mean when they say things without being the weird person who just doesn't get things? So I think that this question is tough because there's a thing that happens where, because the majority of people's brains and socializing works in an assumedly similar way, neurotypicality is the thing that I'm talking about, right? The idea that because science and medicine have indicated that there is a normal way for a brain to function, anyone whose brain does not function that way is outside of that space. And we're just now, I think, really starting to understand things like the autism spectrum. We're starting to figure out that maybe like not everybody's brain works the same way. Mental health stuff affects these things. We're starting to see that maybe not everybody understands or feels or thinks about things this normative way. So I hope that it can start to open up space for people to not know, right? Satire and sarcasm are really hard because if you want to better understand something, if you want to be in that place where you're like, oh, I get it, like you're being sarcastic, you have to feel comfortable asking and acknowledging the reasoning why, or maybe not. You don't know anybody anything. You can just say, hey, were you being sarcastic? I can't really tell. But that's hard because now you're now you're outside. Now you're outside of that. Now you're the abnormal one. So I think what we need to do is for you personally, right? Find the communities and spaces in which it feels safe to be that person, to say, hey, I didn't get that. Could someone explain it to me? Like, because I honestly, I don't get it, but only do that in a space that you feel safe. And what I'm going to do for you and for anyone else who might be in that place is I'm going to try to make those spaces. It is always okay to think and to feel and to experience your life differently for other people here. I will do everything that I can. And this goes for I'm not just talking to Cesius here. I'm talking to everybody. I will defend your right to not get it and to not be treated like shit because you don't. So I don't know. Find spaces where that's okay. And that, I think, is the important thing that you can do. And I will try to make them and hold them for you and for other people that are in that position. It's tough. It's really tough. I acknowledge that it's not something that I struggle with personally, but I'm going to try to be more clear about that stuff. And if I'm doing it just for one person, you are a person that I care about. So doing it for you is worth the effort. That's that. Like, that's how it goes. So let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna answer your question, Joe. So Joe asks, I'm very much out gay guy online. I'm able to select the people I converse with. Are there steps that I can take to create a safer place for myself in meet space when I'm scared to be myself after hurtful comments from family and friends on LGBTQ topics? Yeah. As someone who just never really like got around to making space for myself in like family places, I'm not my outist version of myself in those spaces. Instead, I put myself in spaces that I do feel comfortable, right? I spend time with other LGBT people, both online and in meet space. You could volunteer at an LGBT like outreach center. It sounds to me like you are comfortable inside yourself. You're comfortable with your own gayness. Find people who are not as comfortable, right? Outreach, volunteering, make space to help them. It is the nicest, sweetest thing that you can do to share your experiences with other people. There are a lot of very confused, worried baby queers out there that need us. And while we may not have the infinite wall of defense that makes it so we never feel bad or never have doubt or regret being out the way that we are, I think it's our job to say, hey, like, it's fine to feel fucked up about your gender or your sexuality. It's fine to be uncertain. It's also fine to be really certain and gay as fuck if you are. Like, we're here to make that space for you. So try to turn outward as best you can, and you're gonna find that it's so good for you. and that you can choose the people that you are in relationships with. Just because someone is your mom or your dad or your brother or your racist cousin doesn't mean you have to engage with them. They're people like everybody else. And you get to pick who your friends are. You don't have to be friends with everybody. So surround yourself with good people. Help externalize your gay power, right? Engage, be a part of the gay agenda. You can do it. And I'm proud of you, right? Like, just because your family or some other people are being shitty about your sexuality, other people are going to embrace you for it. People are going to care about it. And I want you to know that that's possible. Just only surround yourself with those people. Let's see. There's a lot of questions here about like being trans. Someone asked about why is being transgender not a mental illness? Because it's not. I'm not. I'm a cisgendered person. You are asking the wrong person. But I'm gonna talk about emotional labor, right? So here's the thing. You can ask me about what it's like to be trans, and I'm going to say to you, I don't fucking know. You can ask me about my opinion about trans people, and that is they're people. You can ask me about resources maybe that I could show you. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll help you understand better some of the literature. But here's the thing. If you rely on marginalized people to educate you, if instead of doing your own research, instead of looking into it yourself and better understanding what people's trans experiences are, you're making marginalization worse. Because you're asking someone who is already suffering from prevalence in society telling them that they have a mental illness, for fucking example, you're asking them to do more work. You're saying, all right, so while you're trying to survive, on top of your constant day-to-day gender struggle against normativity, on top of all that stuff, I'm going to get you to teach me about how to be better to you. If that's the only way that you're getting educated, fucking stop. Don't do that. There's lots of work you can do. You need to do that work. If these people are volunteering to do that labor, then awesome, right? If they're offering, great. If you see someone on Twitter say, cool, trans Q&A, go ahead and ask your questions, participate, but don't force them. Don't ask, don't demand, because that's emotional labor. That's demanding work from them when they're already doing work. So I don't know, like, find resources, Google that shit, dig around, learn, be a better person for you. I don't know enough, because here's the thing. We get trolled a lot. And by we, I mean LGBT people. We get trolled about these things where someone is like, well, Adam, I have several articles that say being transgender is a scientific ailment. Please refute these articles with scientific proof, right? And so I'm like, okay, great. I've got some emotional labor to engage, but I'm not going to go out of my way to try to like debate you on these things. That's not my responsibility, right? My responsibility is not to convince you of a thing that I know to be fundamentally true. The burden of proof falls on you to convince yourself that there's only two genders. The thing is, I don't give a fuck what you think. And I don't mean anyone in particular, but I don't personally give a fuck what you think. If someone says to me, being gay is a mental illness, or if they say, white people are the master race, I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about your opinion. your thoughts on this matter are irrelevant to me. I had a debate with someone for about 5 seconds on Twitter today where I was like, blocking people on Twitter is an acceptable way of not having a conversation with them. And then someone was like, well, that's typical social justice warrior talk. Why are you trying to create an echo chamber? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to block you. Somebody else said, oh, so much for unity. And I was like, block, right? Then somebody said to me, well, why are you blocking people? Like, why did these people deserve to get blocked? And I said, well, because I didn't want to talk to them anymore. And they said, yeah, but why? What do they do to deserve that? And I said, well, do I owe you anything? And they said, no, but you're not willing to debate your point. So I'm done with this conversation. I said, excellent. I will block you also, right? The thing is, people don't want to engage in good faith. So I guess when someone says something like, prove to me, the subject is prove to me being trans is not a mental illness, I say, why? Why? Right? That's not what you want. If a trans person is saying to you, this is what my experience of life is like, why do you have to question that? Why not just say, cool, I acknowledge you. I hear you. Why? Right? Like what's the fight about? Why are you so threatened by people being trans? Why are people so threatened by the gender binary being false? What's the point? Like that I've never understood. Like I get feelings of confusion. I get feelings of shame for getting it wrong. I have misgendered people who are close to me by accident. I always feel fucked up about it. I have said and done things that I don't feel good about and been called on them. And I feel shame and embarrassment for those things. But I'm not going to be angry about it. What's the point, right? I guess that's my question for you. Why do you need to debate it? Are you trans? Is the existence of trans people making your life bad? Or are you just scared of something you don't understand? Or are you just trying to have an argument? Think about why this is important to you. Analyze yourself. That's it. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of the time I don't understand where these questions come from or why people think that they need to be like, there's only two genders. Like, how does someone identifying as non-binary make your life somehow less good? Professor Grizzlybeard is asking, I've recently met ostensibly straight people, never dating within their sex, no real attraction to people outside their sex who self-identify as queer, i.e. living a hetero life, but outside of standard normativity. This feels strange to me, like privilege and appropriation. Do you have an opinion on this? So let me tell you a story. So I have a question for all you people who are going to understand my terminology. Queer folks in the channel. Do non-monogamous people, straight non-monogamous people, do they deserve, are they entitled to, should they have a float in the Pride Parade? Does being non-normative, but fundamentally still straight, give you the right to identify as queer and exist in queer spaces? Now, this kind of ties in with the whole like privilege thing, right? Where like, yeah, being non-monogamous can cause disadvantage in your life. but it's not, you're not queer. I think that queerness has a history that needs to be respected. Now, I want to talk real quick about visibility too, because I think that shout outs to all of my cisgendered bisexual people who are in straight appearing relationships and whose bisexuality, pansexuality, queerness is being erased. I see you. I see you. You're still you're still part of the club. I don't think that practice or visibility makes you queer. I think it is an identity thing. I think that it is identification, but you have to be real with yourself. You have to identify with the things that are true. And I think that the kinds of things that give us space to identify as queer require that we acknowledge that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. If somebody says to me, I'm a man, I'm a cis man, I have never dated another man or really dated anybody who wasn't a woman, a cis woman. I'm not particularly attracted to anyone that isn't not a woman. But hey, I'm queer. My question to them would be, how? In what way? How do you identify with queerness? In what way does the queer struggle fit for you? And then listen. Ultimately, everyone gets to identify with what feels right in their heart. Is a metaphor for their identity, but they're allowed to identify the way that they want. And we get to make decisions about how we think and feel about that choice and whether we want to continue to associate with those people. I don't know that I would be comfortable being in a space with someone saying like, I'm queer, but not without talking to them about it. And plus, like, the thing about queer and queerness, I think for me, is that it invites conversation. I choose that as a personal label because I want to talk about it, because it is a flag. It is a shouting, not a quietude. I think it's important, and I want to engage. There were some questions while we were talking about this that, are asexual people queer? I mean, yeah, totally. I mean, in my opinion, sure. Ask an asexual, right? The thing is, there's no list. There's no checklist of names upon which all the homos get written. Identification is complicated. So treat people like people. I'm looking at questions. I'm not just like silently flipping through web pages. Yeah, I mean, so lessons learned asked, should we still use the term straight? I feel like this is nothing about the person it refers to, but serves as a pejorative to others who fall outside heteronormativity, right? You're either straight or you're everything else. Yeah, I mean, it's like non-monogamy, right? Like, if you're non-monogamous, all you're saying is that you're not a normal thing. I think language is going to evolve around these things. I think that hetero is probably a more useful term in the same way that cisgender became a thing. Instead of cis and non-cis, we have trans and cisgender people. I think that, yeah, I only use straightness in a way, for me, the idea of describing something as straight is like pretty dismissive, right? Usually when I say straight, it's in the context of like, ugh, straight people, or like, you know, like, oh, this TV show, it's so straight. But if I really want to like treat everybody like they're on an even playing field, hetero is on an optional, it's this in the same space as gay or any of the other terms you'd like to use to describe someone's sexuality. Yeah, I think it's just a thing that we can engage with as people. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It goes back to what I was saying before about like when somebody tells you what their gender is, like just fucking listen and be like, yep, cool. I will respect your choices and I will identify you the way you want to be identified. But I'm also going to question you. Like if I'm friends with somebody, I want to ask. Like if somebody says to me like, hey, I am identifying as gender neutral now or non-binary or genderqueer, can you use these pronouns? I will probably say, yes, of course. And then I'll follow it up with like, hey, if you want to talk about that, I would love to better understand your gender identity. I would love to engage with you on that because I care about you. And I want to know, I want to know what your thought process is. I want to know you. I care about you. I think that's important. Celery Top is asking, is struggle a necessary or typical component of queerness? Historically, yes, absolutely. I don't know that it has to be, but right now it is. And it has been historically. And again, queer is a word that carries with it a lot of aggressive connotation in both directions, right? Like I am queer, not because it's a nice, comfortable, warm blanket to wrap myself in, but because it is a thorny statement, because it is a way of aggressively saying to the world, this is a thing that is true about me. In the same way, queer has been used aggressively against LGBT people for ages. And so it's a weapon, and we're trying to re-weaponize it to assert our own existence. So yes, it is very much part of a struggle. But I don't know that it always will be. I don't know that will be true forever. As a term, not as a concept, as a term. Yeah, I like it because it's a little fighty. I like it because it's got fists up. It says, yeah, I'm here. Right? There's the whole chant. It's a real thing. I like when people, I mean, it doesn't feel good, but I like when people say, why does your Twitter say that you're queer? Did someone put that up as is that a joke? Is somebody fucking with him? You know, that's not okay. But it is nice to be able to call attention to it. And I use it because I have the privilege to do so. Yeah. Yeah, it's a complicated thing. And these are the kinds of conversations that need to spring up around these ideas of unity, because I'm not a big unity guy. I'm a dissent kind of guy. I'm a ask questions kind of guy. Why do we need to listen to what we're told? Why do we need to follow along? Why do we need to be in unity? Snowy Evie, I'm sorry I missed you the first time. I saw your question earlier. Snowy Evie asked, what would you say to someone like them who's trying to break out of their shell? I've tried so many times to break out of mine, and because of who I am, when I get put down by people, I close right back up. Oh yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard to be like, hi, I'm this way, please embrace me. And then everyone is like, just dumping negativity on you. It totally happens. I think for me, it's about weathering that. It's about understanding where they're coming from, not in the sense of like, hi, I'm queer. And they're like, cool, fag. You don't need to understand that person. But you can understand that they are being ignorant. They're attacking an idea. They don't know you. They don't know who you are. They don't know anything about your life. They are awful. And even in the cases of people who are being awful and they do know you, you can excise them. They don't deserve your time or energy. But it's hard. And again, this is why, and I said this a little bit earlier when I was talking to Cesius, I think finding spaces where people will hear you, you know, when people will hear you say, hi, I'm Snowy Evie, I am, and they'll be like, cool, I hear you, I acknowledge that you're that thing. And it kind of comes back to, like, we should do this for people in all of the ways that they, in good faith, acknowledge themselves to us. I think it's important when somebody exposes themselves in a vulnerable way that we listen, that we treat them like humans. So find spaces where that is possible. And it can be hard because being dismissed is the easiest way for someone to make you feel like garbage and to push you away. It's hard to argue. So sometimes you can let people with more privilege or power argue for you. And maybe you've got a YouTube video that you can show them. Maybe you've got a streamer you can point them at. Maybe you have something you can say, hey, I'm hurt by something you said, and I don't have the emotional energy to fight with you about it. Could you read this? Like, if you're a person that is interested in me as a person, can you read this so you better understand me? And if they say no, if they're like, I don't want to read that, this person doesn't deserve you or your attention or affection. They don't deserve that stuff. So I guess the question here is to do you recognize, do you feel like you are worth that attention and respect? Because if you don't, I'm telling you, you're wrong. You really are. And sometimes those are going to be people who are close to you. Sometimes they're going to be your parents or your friends. And I'm so sorry that that's going to happen. But I believe in you. I think you're worth people respecting and caring about you. Yeah, that's my feelings on the matter. I saw Elf asking me some. Elf, let's see. Oh, you qualified your question. Okay. How about queerness in relation to visibility on Twitch? I often find myself in repeat conversations and having to do that work. Right. Is it worth talking over those same points in the hopes you enlighten someone? I guess it depends. Do you care about enlightening people? Right? Like, if it doesn't feel to you like it's too much work and you want to keep doing it, keep doing it, yo. But if you're in the middle of that explanation, you're like, okay, so sometimes people are assigned a gender at birth without being consulted on it. And later in life, because normativity is a thing, they realize that the gender that they were assigned does not fit with their actual gender. And then they have to go through some stuff, and it can be hard. And let's talk about what being trans is like. If you find yourself in the middle of that conversation and you're like, this hurts, I can't do this today, I just wanted to fucking play a game and not do, you can say, hey, you know what? I don't have the time. I don't have the time or the energy. And this is not a ask the trans person stream. Sorry. Like, and maybe that's going to make you angry. Maybe that's going to make you leave the channel. But if that is going to make you angry and leave the channel, maybe you don't belong here in the first place. Take care of yourself. And that doesn't just mean push yourself till you get sad or tired. It means being like, no trans talk today. I'm not into it. right? And surround yourself with people who can field and manage that stuff for you. Get you some people who will back you up, because they will help. And I know you have some of those. But it's okay. It's okay to say no. I know you know that. I know you're smart and you can take care of yourself, but I'm telling you, because sometimes it's nice to hear out loud, Elf, you can say no to these conversations. You completely can. You have every right to do so. Let's see. As a hetero cisgender man, with the context of becoming closer with non-conforming humans during college, I find it difficult sometimes to discern when I'm mansplaining. Oh, yeah. Okay. I feel you on this one. Or otherwise oppressing those around me. Yeah, privilege makes us blind to the ways that we like fuck with other people's business sometimes. So also calling someone out is an act of trust and attention and care. So when they're doing this to help you be a better person. And so I get that you're like, you don't want to be like, gay friends, tell me when I'm being awful and I will just rely on you. That puts all the work on them. What you can do is say, hey, non-conforming people around me, I acknowledge that I have some privilege and I'm working on using it for good. I will try my fucking hardest not to explain things to you that you know better than me. I think we can all agree that I'm coming from a place of privilege and ignorance, and I'm trying to work on it. If you feel comfortable, friends of mine, if you feel comfortable talking to me about these things, helping me, please do. If you don't, if that feels like emotional labor that you don't have space for, I will watch myself. And you can be upset and mad at me, and you can tell me that I fucked up and not want to help. That's okay. But I think we're friends, right? So I hope you'll help. But ask, right? Ask, don't demand. It's not their job to make you better. It's your job. And I think you know this. It sounds to me like you do. But that can be a thing. That can be a way that they show that they care about you, in the same way that you can stand up for them and you can show up for them when they need someone with more privilege than they have to be there and to be in their space. Yeah, that's my thought. Let's see if there's some questions that I maybe missed. Gwen, do you have any advice for what to do when you're excluded in a space, physical, internet, chat, forum, conversation, because you correct or try to readjust the conversation to a more inclusive and respectful way of talking? For example, hey, can you not use gay as a synonym for stupid or unfun, and then getting banned? Woof. Let me talk for a moment. Let me talk to you about the lovely land of advertising. Let's talk about advertising for a moment. So for a long time, I worked in an environment in which your main job was to convince people to buy things. And a lot of the way that advertising works is by playing on tropes that people are comfortable with and using those tropes to convince people to purchase things. A lot of ads rely on the common denominator. They speak to privilege. Privilege tends to have money. And when we speak to privilege, we can convince that privilege to spend that money on our products. So I have been in tons of meetings where I have been the person being like, hey, so can we not make this ad about how you should man up? Because it implies that only men are tough and that men shouldn't have emotions. And you're doing a lot of like damaging reinforcement. Maybe we could not do that. I spent a lot of time being ignored. I spent a lot of time being known as that guy who couldn't let it go, right? People would make jokes about it. People would be shitty about your resistance to normative stuff. And I think it's the responsibility of everybody to protect themselves. And part of protecting yourself is finding that balance between standing up for the things that you believe and not painting a target on your back. I don't think that there is a black and white answer to this question, because I think that you, Gwen, but also you, everybody, have to decide when to call people out on their behavior, and when not to. Because yes, you can end up in a place where you are treated like that person, or like you said, like banned from chat. I have tried to mention to people the effects of their language. Lots of people use triggered as a joke. Lots and lots. People I care about and respect. And when they do, I have to decide, is this the right venue? Somebody makes a trigger joke on a stream in front of 8,000 people. Might not be the time. It doesn't mean that I'm tolerant of it. Pick your battles, right? Sometimes it's about talking to these people offline, away from a public space, knowing when the time to make that call is. Sometimes it means just calling them out in front of everybody. Sometimes it means being like, whoa, that's racist. Don't say that. Choosing when to exert your emotional labor, that's the biggest part of the battle. And for me, that is a constant struggle. And so I gotta make that decision. And I know you do too. Everyone's mileage may vary. Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, I think you make your choices. You say, is this a community that I think I can make an impact in, or is it not? And if it isn't, stepping away from that community may not be the worst thing. For me, in my case, I quit. I quit being in advertising. I couldn't do that anymore. And I didn't care enough about the discipline of, I wasn't going to fix advertising. I didn't give a fuck. Advertising could die in a fire, a big sexist fire. And I don't need to be a part of that. But I'm going to stand up for the things that I care about in the spaces that I care about. Advertising just wasn't one of those. So I don't know. I know you, Gwen, and I know you care a lot about a lot of things. So care about you first, and then these other spaces and people second, and then commit as much energy as feels safe for you. Take care of yourself, because you're a little cinnamon bun, and I don't want you to be sad and feel shitty and excluded from places. But I trust you. I trust you to take care of yourself. I think you can do it. Let's see. When was the last time I was added before all this NERPS business? Let's see. Liam says, I identify as pan. I hear people tell me it's not a valid way to identify. Fuck them. Claiming there's only two genders. Fuck them twice. Or for some reason that bi is enough. I've also been called greedy. What are your thoughts? Fuck all that. Not you, Liam, but fuck all that stuff. You know, words mean things. Words mean things, but I also think that we get to decide what words mean. Right? To us. So if you say to somebody, you know, as a pan person, this is my experience, and they say to you, pansexual. That's not real. You can say to them, hey, that is hurtful. That is a hurtful thing. You just told me that something that I care about isn't real. And see how they respond. And if they're like, I don't care about your feelings, you can be like, you don't have to be friends or talk to those people. Honestly, I think demanding respect and comfort and conversation and like engagement from the people that are close to us is like the least possible thing we can expect. I think that's it. I think that's like, you deserve it. You know what being pansexual means to you and why it's different from being bi. You know that it doesn't mean that you are greedy, which is horseshit. Fuck that anyway. That's some like very, very old school thinking around sexuality. But like, here's the thing. I respect your sexual identity. Lots of other people do. Try not to let it get you down, but I get that it's hard. And I respect that struggle. I don't know. Don't listen to them, I guess is what I'm saying, Liam. I don't believe in them. I believe in you instead. It is hard being told. It's hard being told that you're not real or that a thing you believe isn't right or correct or whatever. And that's hard. So solidarity. I feel you. I feel you. I'm not going to be able to solve this problem, but I think that I can try to give you some idea that not everyone feels that way and that you can find communities that will embrace you for who you are and the feelings that you are having about yourself and your life. MX Duckamy says, how do you feel about words like gay just being banned in streams? I was recently in a stream, someone got insta-timed out for using it, and the streamer was like, oh, don't use that word. Community management. Community management is a tricky thing because I think that sometimes the safest thing for people to do is ban a word outright. We have a banned words list in this chat. I don't think gay is a slur. I don't think queer is a slur. Obviously, I identify. It's a slur in some mouths. I think it's a slur in some environments. But I don't think that there's a universal like way of saying it. There's some words that are not okay. Racial slurs will never be welcome here, ever. Right? They're harmful words that are not allowed to be used. There's no constructive way to use some words. But my ban list is very short. I want people to be able to engage in a conversation. Sometimes I think that it's important for us to confront the nature of language. I think that some people, like I'm allowed to say that I'm queer. Some of you are allowed to say, oh, that's Adam. He's queer. Some of you are not allowed to be like, who's this queer? Context, right? So, I don't know. I wish that channels didn't need that. I wish that channels didn't have to have those like bad words lists, but I think we protect ourselves from people and we protect each other. I can think of lots of words that as a white person, I'm invincible to. They do not harm me. There are people who can call me things that would just bounce off. But I respect the people in my chat who would be hurt by those words. And I ban those words. I think it's not okay. I'm immune to a lot of stuff, but it's not my job just to protect myself. It's my job to protect you. People in my chat. Yeah. That's my thoughts. It's not just about me. It's about people who I care about. Same reason I like the idea of punching Nazis. because I'm not particularly threatened by white supremacists personally. They're not going to try to fucking genocide me. But like, I happen to like, I don't know, people of other ethnicities. So the kinds of people who are like, yeah, let's just do horrible fucking genocidal shit to people that you care about, they get a fist in the mouth. Because fuck them, right? In the same way, I'm not personally threatened by a bunch of shitty language, but like, fuck you. You do not have the right to use that language here. Nazi punching. I like it. So yeah. Let's see what else is going on. I've never understood the idea that people are threatened by like extreme feminism, because it doesn't have, like, I get that men feel threatened by the kind of aggressive feminism they think they're being exposed to. That's like, maybe we should make spaces for only women, or maybe we should consider excluding men from some stuff to make it a safe space for women to be in, and non-male people. And they see that and they think we should get rid of all men in all spaces. They get scared. People with privilege, and I'm not excluding myself, people with privilege feel afraid when they think it's going to be taken away. But honestly, like, fuck, feminism is just like common fucking sense. That like women deserve the same respect as men, because gender should not determine how much respect and opportunity you get. That seems like fucking obvious to me. And the only reason it's called feminism is because it's currently, the situation is de-emphasizing the value of women over men. That's it. There's no such thing as meninism or fucking humanism in that sense. Classically, there is such a thing as humanism, but it's not about that. It's called feminism because for things to be even, we must bring people who are disadvantaged up from the bad place. We don't need to bring everybody up, because then the imbalance is still the same. It's just common fucking sense to me. I think that every ideology has its extremes, but I don't think that radical exclusionary feminism is a problem in the way that some people think it is. Feminism's main problem is trying to define what a woman is and being shitty about that. Feminism as a structure is pretty, yeah, it's a pretty smart fucking thing. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's, there's not a ton more questions in chat. I think that we're coming up on like 2 hours. So I hope you've had an okay time hanging out here. I'm glad everybody was here to sit in and have this discussion. I know that because it's TwitchUnity today, and because, you know, we're streaming under the TwitchUnity community, and we're hashtag TwitchUnity, like all of those things, you know, we've attracted more than usual our amount of shitty jerks. But here's the thing, like, if even a couple of those shitty jerks like listened and learned something about anything today, then we did something, right? And I thank you for being a part of that. I thank you for being in that space with me. It means a lot. Like I said before, you as an audience, you as a community, you as people give me strength to have these conversations.